And it just so happened while I was sitting there filming, and Rob Dew was approached by security first. I taped some of that. Then the guy came up and approached me, and I said, I can't stand on the sidewalk and tape. There was a gentleman who was a limo driver with a couple other residents of Pittsburgh, and he started cursing the security guard out. He's like, what do you mean he can't film? That person just filmed. That person just took a picture. What's the problem? Isn't this America? He said some other choice words that I can't mention here on air. But I said to myself, all right, at least there's still somewhat of a fighting spirit left in American citizens, in individual humanity. Because without our humanity, folks, what are we connected to? Without looking out for our brothers, our sisters in arms, who are we? We're self-centered, sociopathic, consumerist idiots. That's who we are. If we can't look around and say we have to love one another, we have to try to get along with one another, we have to try to do right in this society, we have to seek justice, what are we here for? What are we here for? Are we here to slurp down beer, eat Domino's pizza, and watch baseball games? Is that it? And just obey our lords and masters? You know, when I went down in the initial protest on Thursday and we were kind of corralled off, it got down to me, Cindy Sheehan, Josh, and a few others. We went down and there was a bunch of Falun Gong protesters who were sitting there doing their meditations, had a bunch of great signs out there. The first they came for him and I did nothing, and then they came for my neighbor and I did nothing, and then they came for me and I wish I had done something. That entire poem was out there. They had huge posters talking about how their organs were being harvested now. Falun Gong members' organs being harvested now on the black market in China. Yet, I went to interview one of these gentlemen. He came up to me seeking an interview, saw that I was with the press, wanted me to tell the story. I said, of course, let me get an interview with you. So he told me the problems, and I said to him, sir, do you believe that China is a police state? And the psychological warfare that has been waged against these people actually had him say to me, no, I don't think China's a police state. I think it's just the leader of the Communist Party. And, you know, I felt bad for him at that moment. I thought to myself, well, it won't matter what leader there is in the Communist Party, or if they call it socialism or capitalism, as long as you let them set policies like you're only allowed one child. You're guilty until proven innocent. Yes, the military are the police and they can be on the streets. You live in a police state dictatorship. You need to come to terms with that. Nothing is going to change. You get that leader out, another corrupt leader is just going to come right in. We have to continue to expose this tyranny, these crimes against humanity, if we ever want to win, if we ever want to enjoy victory. And it will only be temporary victory. Good and evil exist, folks. They're constantly fighting one another. And people who try to possess power and rule over others and take over, guess what? The majority of them are inherently evil. They're looking out for themselves. They don't care about the consequences of the masses. They don't care what happens to you and yours. They will literally kill thousands, millions, billions of people if they get the chance. And they can only do this, unfortunately, with our help. It takes people on the ground, like you and me, our neighbors, the people that live amongst us, our family members. I know most of you out there have an uncle, an aunt, a cousin, a brother, a sister who's in law enforcement or in the military. But when they're deployed against the American populace, what can we do but expose this, fight back, and try to educate them? I mean, they want you to raise your hand against them. They want you to take up physical violence so that they can come in with the pretext of 1,200 troops to 200 protesters, if there were even 200 or 300. Again, they arrested over 100 people, but many of them just college students wondering what was going on. Now, coming up in the next hour, we're going to have Luke Rudowski with us for a full hour to really flesh out the entire event, how he was able to take over NBC with Brian Williams, nightly news. He was all over the local news there. Everywhere I actually saw a television set where they were playing this stuff, Luke was out there with the bullhorn. He really did just an amazing job. He continues to be another beacon for freedom and truth. But we're also going to take your calls. We're going to take your calls at 888-201-2244. That's 888-201-2244. And we're also going to take from the direct line 512-646-1776. We are looking for G20 specific comments and questions. So if you want to talk about what just occurred in Pittsburgh, we got another 2 hours. I want to get your take on it. I want to hear what you've seen on the news. I want to hear what you think about the coverage by Infowars. I want to hear what you think about the coverage from CNN. You know, I go to this concert for climate change that was put together by Al Gore and others. And Al Gore didn't even really show up. He gave a video message. Oh, thank you, Lord Al. Thank you, Mr. Gore. And all these people are speaking out against CO2. And again, well-meaning idiots. I taped this one protest where this girl had a canary cage on her head with a fake dead canary on top with 2 flags. She was supposedly the mother goddess or something coming out of her back and a cape. And then they took the canary down and they had a piece of coal lying on a bandana with like a globe in it, and they were worshiping Mother Earth, and coal is going to save us, and the Waxman proposal is what we want. I'm like, what? And then a couple of people who actually knew what was going on showed up. They had an Al Gore type deception dollar speaking out against the carbon tax. They said, look, these elitists want us to pay to try to fix the environment. No, this is another money-making scam. What they're going to do is charge us to breathe. And I said, wait, you don't want to be taxed to breathe? She's like, no, I'd rather not be taxed to breathe. I'd rather not have my carbon emissions be regulated by the same globalists that are in charge today. And I couldn't agree more. We're going to come back with your calls after this. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas, 888-201-2244.